Alright ladies, have you ever wondered why some women barely try in dating or relationships and yet men crave them, commit to them, and respect them on a deeper level? Well, let me tell you that it's not magic. It's not some secret tactic that she knows and you don't, and it's definitely not just about how she looks. One major factor is the way that she communicates her ideas and emotions. You know, some women can say the simplest thing and it hits you differently. A man leans in, remembers her words because the way that she speaks reflects self-respect, clarity, and depth. I mean, think about it. How many times have you found yourself asking a man, "What are we? Where's this going? Why don't you text me first?" Only to feel like the more you talk, the more confused or disconnected the conversation becomes. Now, I'm going to be honest and tell you that I don't enjoy using the terms high value woman or high value men. I think it's become a lazy shortcut for labeling each other based on shallow criteria. But the truth is, whether we say it out loud or not, that we all place people in categories, and a man will evaluate, compare, and respond differently based on how he perceives your value. If you're new to the channel, my name is Ismael Gomez. I'm a coach, writer, and speaker, and today I'm going to show you exactly how to speak in a way that highlights your value without chasing, without performing, or trying to convince anyone. Okay, so let's begin. Number 1, you express standards, not preferences. Imagine your life is a house, okay? Not just your love life, your whole world, your energy, your connections, your space. Now, when a man enters that house, whether through dating, conversation, or romantic relationship, he's entering your environment. And your standards, they're how you expect to be treated inside your house. They define what's welcomed and what is not allowed. But here's where many of you go wrong, okay? You start questioning whether you even deserve to have those standards. You think, maybe I'm asking for too much, or if I'm too direct, I'll scare him away. So instead of stating what you expect, you soften it. You turn a standard into a preference. You know, you say, it'll be nice if he communicated more. Instead of, I value clear, consistent communication and I don't invest in anything that feels uncertain. You think, I hope he's not talking to other women. Instead of, I only give my energy to men who are intentional and exclusive. But the truth is that the moment you turn your standards into vague hopes, you stop filtering men and you start performing for them. And now you're hesitating about expressing your needs, waiting to see how he acts so you can adjust accordingly. But a secure woman does not operate like that. You don't wait to see how a man feels before deciding what you're worth. You decide first, then communicate it clearly. However, I do see some of you shouting or sending long texts full of exclamation marks, thinking that intensity somehow is going to make your message land. But remember that intensity is not clarity. You can speak from a place of calm, unshakable self-respect. And that alone is going to say more than any loud emotional outburst ever could. Because the right man does not respond to pressure, he responds to presence. Number 2, intentions versus behavior. By now, you probably know the principle of watch what a man does, not what he says, right? Because actions reveal the truth. But the part that most of you miss is, are you actually paying attention to your own behavior? Do your words match your actions? Because from a man's perspective, I can tell you we know when you're bluffing. Sometimes you tell a guy, I don't kiss on the first date, but then by the end of the night, you're both making out. Or you say, I don't chase men, but 2 days later, you're texting him a whole paragraph asking for clarity. Men can feel when your words are just talk, okay? When you say that you have boundaries, but your actions say, you can seduce me and I'll fold. You know, I also see this pattern all the time in my coaching. Like today's Sunday, as you know, I'm doing a masterclass on how to attract a loyal man without games and manipulation, right? But the interesting thing is that over 1,000 of you have signed up so far. But I already know that later today, maybe 300 would actually show up. And that's about a third. And it happens every single time. You say that you want the outcome, marriage, a healthy relationship, commitment, but your daily actions don't reflect that desire. And if they don't match, then let's be honest, you're not setting an intention, it's just wishful thinking. And I know this because I went through it as well. You know, I've always wanted to be a father and have a beautiful family. You know, coming from a broken home, that dream has always meant a lot to me. But years ago, when when I looked at my behavior, I was sleeping around, being emotionally detached, extracting validation from women, and I had to face the truth that I was completely out of alignment with what I said that I wanted. So I made a decision and I went completely single for 2 years, okay? No dating, no distractions, and I focused on learning how to control my lust. And guess what? When I finally did go back to dating, I met my partner within just 2 weeks, okay? And it didn't take long because I had already become the kind of man who could attract and hold the relationship that I was looking for. So again, don't get caught up in what you say that you want and look at how you're actually showing up, because intentions mean nothing without action, and your results are always loyal to your patterns, not your promises. And final, number 3, you speak with emotional precision. Most men are not taught to express their emotions with clarity. They might feel that something is off, but struggle to name it, and much less communicate it. So when a woman comes along who knows how to speak her truth clearly, it doesn't just catch his attention, it earns his respect. How many times have you caught yourself saying something like, I don't know, it just feels weird, alright? And expecting him to somehow get what you mean. But the problem is that unclear language leads to unclear connections. If you can't name what's really going on inside you, you leave room for him to define it for you, and that never ends well. And sometimes, let's be honest, we don't speak to express how we feel, we speak to get a reaction, and you ask questions that you already know the answer to. But emotional precision is different. It's when you speak because you already found the answer within yourself. Like for example, just yesterday someone shared this with me during a session, and listen well, okay? If a man that you already gone on a date with, you already met face to face at least once, if suddenly he takes 4 days to reply to your message, do you really need to ask me for what that means? Do you need closure? Because deep down, let's be honest, you already know the answer. You're not a priority for him, okay? He's looked at his phone at least 500 times in those 4 days, and not once did he care enough to respond. So we both know that 99% of the time, you already have the clarity, you just don't like what it's telling you. Alright ladies, so to wrap things up, here are the 3 main points that I want you to remember from this video. The moment you turn a standard into a preference, you stop filtering men and you start performing for them. Intentions mean nothing without action. Your results are always loyal to your patterns, not your promises. And emotional precision is when you speak not to get a reaction, but to express the answer that you found within yourself. And finally, I just want to say thanks to every one of you who subscribed to the channel. This weekend we just hit 200,000 subscribers, and honestly the growth over the past 6 months has been insane. And I'm deeply grateful for all of your support, all the likes, all the ways that you keep showing up in the comment section. I always go in there and read, a lot of the positivity, a lot of the experiences that you're going through, and I never take it for granted. So thanks again. And remember, like I always say, for your relationships to change, you need to change, okay? Have a beautiful day.